So, do you guys remember psionic agents? The people who are able to bring forth these lights, um, beings, whatever you want to call them, NHI, right? Eggs, whatever the fuck. Um, yeah, so these people are coming out by the droves more and more whenever we speak about it again. Jack Barber really helped bring a lot of this to light. So we know the Monroe Institute was a whole lot more successful than they let on. They say it's a dead end, or they just had to check it out, study it. Nothing became of it. But look at this: there are psionic agents that are able to summon these things, and the US are extremely interested in these people. For example, Chris Bledsoe, the barber and his team, Skywatchers, right? All these people are coming forth, and whistleblowers and interviews, books, um, journalists, you name it, right? So it's all happening. We're going to be here to cover it all in every aspect. So make sure you subscribe, notifications on, like, comment, share with anyone you know. This helps the absolute most.
Let's talk about some specifics. So these are not just things you see with your eyes, although a lot of times you see them, but you can record them and record some pretty dramatic episodes and incidents on infrared. Let's walk through some of them. You've got one that's called the Mothership Fleet. Tell us about that video, October 2017, what the circumstances were, where you were, and what you saw.
Certainly. Thanks, George, for asking about that sighting. That's probably the best recording I've shot to date. And this took place at Long Beach, in Long Beach, California. I had just purchased a new home there, and I was in my backyard just doing yard work, actually, one day, when I looked up and saw this tremendous blob of light in the sky, this huge, white, elongated light. And this looked a little different than most of the normal objects I see, which are typically orbs or circular objects. This was kind of like an elongated tube. Now, when I saw this object, I immediately grabbed my camera, which is an infrared recording camera. I use a Canon SX60, which has been modified to record in full spectrum to see these other ranges of light that we can't see with our eyes.
So here we go into a question that I'm always asking: the light spectrum. Our eyes can only see to a certain extent on the light spectrum. Some cameras, some goggles, the red spectrum. There's all these talk. Lou Elizondo even spoke to Jesse Michaels about this specifically. The spectrum, that you can see these things that you can't see with the naked eye. Also, like the jellyfish UFO video, right? This object could not be seen with people's eyes, but only on these special FLIR systems, which is forward-looking infrared systems. And this is some highly technical, advanced government tech. So some stuff is classified just because of the tech it was recorded on, right? Which is a whole nother rabbit hole on its own. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? Do you own any technology like this, infrared, anything like that? I'd love to hear from your thoughts there.
So once I put the camera on this big glowing light in the sky, all these smaller orbs were released from the object, which was just fascinating. And I'll add, the first three objects that came out of this portal of light were in a triangular formation, which is very rare and also a commonality in these sightings for me.
Those triangle then formed like sort of a vertical line. It changed shapes too. So what was that display about? What was going on there?
This is classically a mothership and its little drones. It's letting off, like X-Files was not far off, am I right?
Just trying to wow you?
I think it's just, I'm someone who avidly records these anomalies. I share them with the public, and I believe the more that you record them, the better the performances get. So in this case, I had been recording for about 8 or 9 years before I had this recording. And I just believe it wanted to share that moment with me on film, to share with the world. And then the more important point is this triangular formation of objects that came out in the beginning. I've had 3 other sightings that were also triangular formations, and that's a way for us to communicate with each other, to know that we are interacting, and it's kind of a basic form of visual display that we communicate with.
You had a second one that was another one that's featured on your site, on your website link from March of 2017, these 5 green lights. That video has been shared all over the world. What the heck was that thing?
Thanks, George. Yeah, that was a really profound sighting, and it was actually a close range sighting. It was about 50 feet off the ground, at my office in Newport Beach, and I saw this tremendously large object hovering right near in my backyard of 5 green spears with a black tower on top of these spears. This tower was about 20 feet tall, and it was the strangest object I've ever seen in my life at close range. Now, I had the opportunity to film this very close, but when I put the camera on it and I hit record, my HD card was full. And so I panicked and I started erasing all the files from my camera, trying to capture this anomaly at close range. By the time I'd erased these files, it had traversed across the yard into the upper atmosphere. And that's when I finally got the lens on it. But as you can see, it performs all types of unusual maneuvers. It had spotlights, and it's something I saw at close range, so I can verify that it was truly an anomaly.
Mikey, what was your sighting? The first one that you felt you pulled in, were you with a group? Does it work better with a group? And can you describe what it was that you saw?
For sure, George. The first one had to be, well, the way I got introduced to this entire practice, you mentioned the prophet. Jeremy Corbell, who's a luminary in the field of ufology now, he was approached by a young man who claimed that he could summon UFOs. And when Jeremy, and he used the Hebrew Bible, which is what the prophet would use to engage with them. So Jeremy thought, Mike, you really need to meet this guy, after they had a few sessions together in which the young man had summoned and then an object had appeared. So we got together, and I think a lot of what transpired in our interaction with one another, we didn't get any orbs when we summoned together, but he introduced me to the idea that this was possible. And a lot of people say that seeing is believing, but I think in this case, believing in certain ways is seeing.
So Ross has also recently come out with a lot of statements, a lot of rumors, and a lot of hints that there's 1,000 leads he's got to follow now, because after the Jake Barber situation, so many people have come forth in his proton.me emails. He's got so many news sources to follow and verify. So we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff coming up. That's why you got to subscribe, notifications on, join the base community on this platform, and we're going to be covering it all, okay, as it comes out. So yeah, guys, what exciting time. We're going to be doing it, okay?
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I've worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A 1-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?